Man, that was a good show today. But guess what? We're still here. For those brave enough to hang around, man, are you in for a treat? Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show. This is where we exhale and loosen up a little bit and maybe handle some of the issues that were either too strong for the radio or maybe that we just didn't have time for. So let's get Tom back in here along with show producer Jim Kinsey, Michael, and Michelle. Now, the Gun Talk After Show. Take it away, guys.
All right, all you guys who've been on hold, don't go anywhere. You're now in the after show. Hey, Tom Gresham here. We're going to have some fun. We got Jim, Michael, Michelle, and whoever else has wandered in and has not been apprehended by the authorities so far. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Greetings.
Hello.
So what you're telling me is you're here because they don't know you're here yet.
Yeah, they haven't found us.
You got to take on this, the Marine in Mexico. We'll get to that in just a wee bit. Tell you what we ought to do, guys, because we've got some people who've been on hold for a little while. Why don't we get to them? And then we'll go from there. How's that?
Outstanding.
Coolly.
All right, let's go for Roger on line 3. He's in Oregon. What is this gun that you have found?
Well, I've never been a fan of the 9mm. I always thought it was kind of a wimpy round. Mm-hmm. And I'm a retired police officer, and I've always carried a .45. But I've been getting a lot of heat from my buddies. Like, you don't even own a 9mm? So what, being the pawn shop junkie that I am, I ran across a handgun I'd never heard of, and that was a Stoger Cougar 8000. Mm-hmm. And it was in immaculate shape, and the price was right, and so I took a chance and I bought it. And got home and ran some rounds through it and found out it was the only damn handgun I've ever owned that I could hit something that I point at. And I
better send that in.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. It's obviously defective.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting some Russian 9mm and shooting at 10 yards. I ran a 5-shot group that I could cover with a nickel. And I got so excited over this gun, and believe me, I don't get excited over a lot of things anymore. I'm getting too damn old. Mm-hmm. I went out and I bought me a .40 in the same gun.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
You're our kind of guy.
.40 that I just never liked. It was the Kelcat, or it was a God help me out here, Taurus 40, and I just never liked it, and so I swapped it off. I'm in love with these Stogers. They got bobbit levers on them, and they're double action, single action, and I don't know what else to say about it, except it's just great. I cannot find any negative comments online from anybody that has them.
They've got great lines. I like the pistols. It is a double action, single action trigger pull, and you're comfortable with that, obviously.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: why were you down on the 9 for so long?
I just carrying a .45 for so many years and shooting it, and I always thought it was kind of a wimpy round, and it just never appealed to me. Mm-hmm. Now in fact, I was loading 9s while I was listening to your show, and I got to call this guy. I got to brag about this thing that I've got here, and I've got a 50-yard range here at my home, and I'm just burning the thing up with 9s and 40s right now.
Well, of course, you can shoot 9s for a lot less money these days than .45s, so that helps too.
That's for sure. Well, I do all my own reloading anyway. If I buy new ammo, it'll be in brass case, so I'll have the cases. And,
there you go.
And that cuts down on the cost way down.
All right. Well, look, so we've got a big, strong vote for the Stoger Cougar, and I like the way you think. If you find a gun that you like, then buy a second one. And I'm not making fun. I'm serious about this because what always happens to me is I find something I like, and I think, one of these days I'm going to get another one, and then they stop making the darn thing, and I can't go find one.
Or the price goes way up.
Yeah, true. All right, Roger. Well, look, I appreciate that. A big, strong vote for the Stoger Cougar 8000. I love that.
Plus a lead for us to call in after the show. Call him back and say, hey, We need some 40s. We'll send you some brass.
That's right. Now we got our own loader out there, and he's got a 50-yard range at his house. I am envious.
You could have one at your house, Tom, once.
Well, that's true, and probably it would clear out quickly enough when the neighbors heard me shooting, and it'd just be fine.
Sure.
You
and if everybody vacates the city, that's no longer shooting within the city limits. It's a village at that point.
You'd get 15, 20 minutes of shooting depending on the local response time.
I love it.
So I was worried about the other day with those raccoons I've got. I'm thinking if this thing attacks me, I'm going to shoot it.
Don't you mean the raccoons you had?
Oh, no, I think they're still around.
There's certain things we don't talk about in public, Jim.
That's why they got me in this box of a room.
These raccoons died of natural causes, lead poisoning. It happens.
High velocity lead poisoning.
Well, I got that 22 air rifle from my dad, and it's...
Oh, that's right. You were telling me that thing's really working for you.
Oh, God, I love it. It's as loud as a regular 22 rifle, though. It goes crack! It's really loud.
That's what we do, right? We take the basic concept of an air rifle that's doesn't kick and it's very quiet, and then what do? We soup them up until they become a 22.
Yeah. Reminds me of that old joke, Tom.
Which is?
I got a 380 for my wife. Oh, that sounds like a pretty good trade.
That's a good trade. That's right. That's exactly it.
Sorry.
Let me get Jim in here on one out of Nebraska. Jim, we're going to switch to politics with you. How you doing, man?
Yes, I'm doing fine. Just what you said, switch to politics. There was a debate in North Platte, Nebraska last weekend. Ben Sass is running for the Senate. He is an NRA member and a well-known NRA member in this area. Mm-hmm. They tried to ambush him with the gun show loophole question. Mm-hmm. And I thought he gave a very good answer. He called it a lie. And he called them liars. He said there was no such thing as the gun show loophole, and it really started quite a debate there on the podium. The question was put out by our local TV anchorette, and I called the station Monday morning, and I called them on the fact that she was asking a question that wasn't true. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, that wasn't her question. And I had asked them for a retraction. They said, no, we won't retract it because it wasn't her question. It was just a list of questions that they were given to ask. Mm-hmm. And then I asked them, well, how about a clarification on your news program? Why don't we have not a debate, but, a clarification, something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they said they would. And they asked me if I wanted to be on, and I said, well, I would come on the telephone. I wouldn't be on live with them. Mm-hmm. And they've never called me back yet. I don't know if it will happen, but I really thought that anybody in Nebraska that was an NRA member or who was a gun owner should be interested in looking at Ben Sass for the U.S. Senate just because of that, the way he handled himself with that question.
One thing you may want to do, call them back and follow up because you got to press them on it. They're busy. I mean, it may not be that they're avoiding you. They're busy. But there's a line that I have used a lot that really seems to cut through a lot of the clutter on the whole mythical gun show loophole. And when I say, look, here's the deal. The laws inside a gun show are exactly the same as the law outside a gun show. There's no difference. State, federal, local laws are all the same. Gun shows have absolutely no special dispensation from the laws. All the laws apply at a gun show. And then you say, what are you talking about when you say gun show loophole? And then you make them try to explain when you've just explained that, look, there's no difference in the law inside a gun show, outside. Because, see, that's what people think. That's what the public thinks. When they say gun show loophole, they think, oh, well, you can go to a gun show and the gun laws don't apply in a gun show.
I told them that there was no difference between a gun show or if I walked into Cabela's.
Okay.
I have a Nebraska state gun purchasers permit. I went through the federal firearms. Everything's the same, no matter. Well, see, they were aware of that. We have had words before. I belong to a gun club that runs a gun show, and about 3 years ago, they ran a story that there were guns being sold in the parking lot of our gun show, which was true. We called the police. The gun show called the police. Our club called the police. These were guns that were stolen. and the man was arrested, and we were the ones that turned him in. Again, I called them on that, and that time they did run a retraction.
Well, it sounds to me like you're on top of this. You're working with the media, watching them, calling them on it. The one other thing I would throw in as a possibility is kind of part of your outreach. Certainly you want to follow up on this current thing, but also when you're having your gun show, go get with a reporter who you can trust, which is maybe the search that is a little bit more difficult, but bring that person in and say, let's do a piece on the laws that actually apply in a gun show and what's involved and who's selling, and that way, rather than always reacting, orchestrate the story the way you want it to go.
That's a good idea. I do have someone I could call. I mean, I'm not friends with him or anything, but I know him. I've spoken to him before. Yeah. And
just say, hey, everybody, and what you do is you say, look, you want a story that turns everything upside down? Because I always like that. And it's kind of this is one of those, this will surprise you stories. And he said, coming up, a gun show, and the laws there may surprise you. And then they go walk in and go, well, yeah, people do background checks at gun shows, and the laws are exactly the same inside as outside. And I just think there's an opportunity for you here to take the initiative and go with it.
A gentleman on the show that called in about using a 4570 lever gun for brown bear for bear.
Right.
And you used to be the editor for the Hand Loader, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
There was a great article, it's been 3 or 4 years ago, on 4570 for big game. They were using it in Africa, on Cape Buffalo, and other big game. And it had, like you mentioned, it had 3 different levels of pressure.
Exactly.
They had a light load, they had a medium load, and they had something that was 45, and I'm not really sure because it's been a while since I read it, but I believe it was 45,000 PSI that could be used out of a Marlin lever gun. And I thought, the man who asked that question, he might still be on, and that's a real good source.
Okay, yeah. Find the article in the Hand Loader magazine. It's called Hand Loader magazine. It's from Wolf Publishing. Yeah, that's a long time ago. I was the editor of that magazine and Rifle magazine. They're almost technical journals, which is great. If you're into gun geekness the way we are, they're pretty cool. And one of the big changes, and Jim, thank you for the call. One of the big changes is those magazines are now available on newsstands. When I was the editor, we never had them available on the newsstands. It was kind of one of those cult things you had to know about them. But now you can, if you shop around, you can find them. What do you guys think about Jim's outreach challenging the media on their reporting?
I think it's wonderful. It's what more people need to do. He had said, while I was talking with him on the phone, he is not a member of your Truth Squad, but it sure sounds to me like he's a foreman of the Truth Squad. You're going out there and demanding that action, and that's what we need to do. We need to disprove their philosophies whenever possible with, hard knowledge.
Well, here's the other thing, too. I mean, a lot of people rely on network news and so forth, but it's these small markets that put out local stories like that when stories that are mismarked or inappropriate or not true are run and don't get retractions, people tend to believe them. And like you say all the time, that's public opinion, and that's going to shape legislation in the future.
You wouldn't know that there was no such thing as a gun show loophole unless you went to a gun show and purchased a firearm.
Right.
So they don't, the public doesn't know, and so they believe that what they're told is the truth, unfortunately, like so many other stories.
Hey, can we get to Sandra, break format a little bit and get to Sandra so we don't lose her?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, because Sandra's been waiting a while. Let's do that. Line 4, Sandra's in Wasilla, Alaska. Hey, Sandra, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, I have just enjoyed listening, and I have a really good question. Okay. My son Marshall's going to be 18 years old this December 22nd, and he has learned gun safety, and he shot 12 gauges and 7 mils, and he's shot in 700 ultra mags, and yada yada yada. But I wanted to think about what kind of rifle I could get him for his 18th birthday, because he hasn't actually owned one, but he's had the privilege of shooting.
I love the idea that you're wanting to get him a rifle for his 18th birthday, and the fact he's been shooting. I take it he's been hunting. He probably has his hunter safety certificate and all of that, right?
Yes, he gets to have an opportunity hunting. He's just been around and gotten to shoot, but he hasn't, actually had his own gun. And I'm a single mom, so he gets a little bit of influence from everybody. And and I'd just like to have an opportunity to ask you what would be what would you recommend for our son?
Here's what I'm going to recommend, because he is into guns. He's going to have an idea of what he wants. We're not going to be able to guess what that is. And I may recommend something and you go buy it and it's perfectly fine, but it's not what he had his heart set on. What I'm going to recommend is you say, get him a card made up, and on it you say, this is your new hunting rifle. Now we're going to go get it, and have him go with you and have him select the rifle, because he will know what brand he wants, whether he wants a wood stock or a synthetic stock, what caliber he wants. Make him part of the process. I really think that way you're going to guarantee he gets what he wants.
Good idea. Let's go window shopping.
There you go. Let's go shopping, son. We're going to have a ball. No hurry. When you find the one you want, I'll buy it for you. And you can say, within this price range. I'm not going to buy you a $3,000 rifle, but I'll go up to X dollars.
And you may get a rite of passage.
That's just a cool idea, Sandra. I love the fact you're doing this. Let me do this, Sandra. Let me let you talk to our resident mother woman, if you will, Michelle. Help her out here, because you've been through this, and you've been on the other side of watching people come in and buy guns too.
That's exactly right. And your advice is the best thing that we could say. Men try to buy guns all the time for their wives, etc. Wives for their husbands, and truly, the best thing to do is to let them pick out what it is they want. Set the guidelines with money. And really let them decide, what are you going to do with it, what it's going to be used for the most, and pick that firearm.
I know he likes to go hunting, and, he's right beyond a 22, and 22s are fun for some things, but not, he's a dip netter, so we're just going to check with a dip net, let's go hunting.
Yeah, and Wasilla area, you got everything from moose and bear and all sorts of stuff. A lot of fun things to hunt. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, Sandra, before I forget, remember when you're setting your price range, he's going to want to put a scope on here. So it's a rifle and a scope. So, and a good scope can cost anywhere from $200 up. So just kind of factor that into you. Did you have a dollar amount you were thinking about allocating for this?
Under $1,500 altogether.
Score. That's easy.
Yeah, he's got great opportunity for firearms there.
Heck yeah.
Sandra, would you be interested in adopting me?
I was just going to ask her that.
We got Cabela's here now, and we have Sportsman, and there's all kinds of places that we can go now, and there's always the gun shows, like they said.
Yep.
They can the gun show. Guys like that.
Well,
be 18 and...
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, thank you very much for the advice. I think we're going to go do some window shopping, and we'll see what he likes.
Perfect.
Take the guessing right out of it.
All right.
Yeah. The only thing I was going to add to that was to give her and her son the opportunity to handle many firearms, not just, necessarily look through catalogs. She had mentioned she was going to go to the storefront. So that's the best thing. Get them in your hands, know what they feel like, mess with them a little bit, and
you can't just shop make model on stuff like that, because if it doesn't fit you, you're not going to shoot it.
And she said $1,500 budget. I'm thinking, heck, I can get her a $1,300 gun for $1,500.
Oh my gosh.
So I've got a couple I need to sell.
Thanks for keeping it real, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for keeping it real.
Interestingly enough, they're all priced right at $1,500.
Did you think she was going to say $500 or $600?
I really did.
Okay,
Yeah,
a couple
I did
$100 scope.
I did. So I was so pleased to think, okay, at that level we can buy a really nice rifle, we can buy good scope, good mounts, some ammo, a sling, a case, a rifle case. You get all the stuff you want. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I got to tell you guys a story about a young kid who Dad took him to the store, says you can buy any big game rifle you want, and how that thing went. Okay.
Excellent.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at galleryofguns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. GalleryofGuns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
All right, we're back here. I was saying I had this story. I hunted with a guy in Texas some years ago, and he's hunting with, he's the guide, all right? Young, kind of a young guy. Well, at this point, they're all young to me. But
they're all kids.
Yeah, that's right. They're all kids. He's got this 8mm Remington Magnum. I'm going, wow, you just don't see that very often. My dad had one, hunted elk with it, but that was a cartridge that kind of came and went. It didn't do much.
Yeah, you see sevens all the time.
Yeah. So, all right. So tell me the story. How did you end up with an 8mm Remington Magnum? He says, well, I forget how old he was. He was, 16, 17, 18. My dad said, okay, I'm going to buy you a rifle. And we're going to go to the store. So he goes to the gun store, and he said, this kid, he has the clerk. He says, all right, all the rifles you have there, take one cartridge that represent what that is and put all the cartridges out on the countertop. And he simply went to the biggest cartridge in the lineup and said, that's the rifle I want that shoots that cartridge. So that's how he ended up with an 8mm, because it's the length of a 375 H&H. It's just an 8mm instead of a 375. So
right. They're huge.
It's actually a great cartridge. It just never went anywhere. It got eclipsed by the 338s and others. But I just thought this image of him lining up all these rifle cartridges and saying, all right, which is the biggest one? That's the one I want.
And he was how old?
Probably 16, 17 ballpark.
Oh, my goodness.
That's awesome.
I love it, And so he says, hey, when I shoot things with, they fall down.
Absolutely.
There you go.
There's a concept.
Most kids at 16 are worried about their car or their driver's license,
Yeah, I tell you, an awful lot of kids growing up hunting, they're thinking about a pickup truck to go hunting with and a rifle and rig to go.
All right.
And these days it's a deer stand and a feeder and corn and trail cameras and all the rest of it.
Well, turn it around. If you're this young man and you get a $1,500 budget, what would you buy? I know what I'd buy.
What would you buy?
I'd buy a $700 AR, probably a $500 to $600 scope, and then the rest of the little amenities. Fort grip.
Yeah, but
unless he was seriously considering the hunting aspect up in Alaska.
But even for target shooting, AR is a good target gun.
Yeah, but not for hunting.
Right.
Not if you're in Wasilla, Alaska.
There's my ignorance. Yes.
There you are. If you're in Wasilla, Alaska, you're talking about mooses.
Everything's
I'm
bigger in Alaska.
I'm thinking whitetail,
Yeah, no. We're talking, a full-grown Alaskan moose, they call it Alaska Yukon moose, at the shoulder is 7 feet tall.
Oh, my God.
Okay. So
good morning.
Now back off and look at a 223. You're shooting a 22 caliber bullet.
Just need a 30-round mag and a lot of patience.
That's right, and your track shoes.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Actually, moose are not really hard to kill. We were actually talking about the 4570 earlier.
Yeah.
I shot a real nice Alaska moose with a 450 Marlin, which is nothing more than a 4570 cartridge with a belt. Lever action, just like we're talking about. And it's just amazing. If you shoot them with a nice big bullet and you shoot them in the right place, they fall down.
Was there one-shotter?
Now you put him on the spot.
It was it was 2 shots, 1 hit, which is interesting because the first shot, well, I'll back up.
Did you use the Gresham rule of hair?
I did. I didn't hit him, but I didn't miss him.
He caught it?
Threw it back. Try a real round next time.
Yeah.
So I'm hunting with these young hunting guys. They're used to these guys who have these 300 magnums and all. So we see this bull moose coming from like 600 yards away, and he's coming closer, and you can see these huge antlers coming through the trees. It's really something. And we slip down the hill, and we get to position, and he's about 300 yards. He says, "Can you shoot him from here?" I'm looking at the short little lever action, throwing these big round pumpkin ball bullets out. No, he needs to be a lot closer. Gets in 200 yards. Can you shoot from here? No, he needs to be closer. Okay. So he's at about 135 yards, and I get all lined up on him, and there's a cow moose, and he's in rut. He's running around. He's all about her. And I fire this shot, and he doesn't fall down. And it's like a bang, and you go 1,001, 1,002. Then about 40 feet in front of me, this 2-inch diameter tree falls down.
Oh, gosh.
I have shot it completely in half. Never saw it in the scope. But at this point, the cow moose takes off running, but the bull moose, being a guy and stupid and in rut, he's like looking around going, well, where'd she go?
Yeah. You see that on the clubs, moose. Too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So racked another round in and popped him, and then he falls down and we're good to go. So, yeah, a 45-70 works there. But back to your original question, if you're going to hunt moose, really anything from 270 up, probably a 30-06 would be a really good starting point.
That's a cool round anyway. 30-06 is a good round overall. It does a lot.
It's an international.
The 30-06 is actually, it's like Jeopardy. The answer is 30. What is the 30-06?
Yeah, right.
The question is, what rifle caliber will do everything?
Right.
The
if you could only have one caliber, yeah.
That's right. What is the 30-06? There you go. All right, Jim, I got to ask you. You mentioned earlier you want to talk about, is it Tahmooresi?
Tahmooresi, yeah. Andrew, Sergeant, Marine Reserve.
Tahmooresi, he's being held in Mexico, and our government is not unable. I am convinced they're not unable. They're unwilling to get him out. He drove in there by mistake. Clearly, we hear that on the 911 call that he made. And he's trying to get out of there, but he can't. Took the wrong turn or whatever, and he's got guns in the car. And he's been in a Mexican jail for what, a year or something now?
I believe
it's a long time.
6 months, 9 months, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, a day is too long. The question was, why wasn't Obama doing anything about it? And to what benefit? And I suggested that, possibly 2-3 days before this upcoming election, he's going to be a hero to try to stoke up the Dem side, etc. And more I started to think, as a matter of fact, I had to walk out of the control room for a little bit to stew on it because I was starting to get angry about it. Here's what I think potentially could be going on. It's the proverbial you don't bite the hand that feeds you. The Bloombergs and everybody else that contributes to him financially.
Yeah.
If he is so anti-gun that he obviously is and admits he is, it would be totally contradictory for him to do something that would exonerate somebody in a gun offense, because legally it is a gun offense in Mexico, regardless if it's stupid or not, kind of like Shanine. Whether it's legit or not, it is a law that was broken. And it's all interpretation. They could have turned him around. We all know the couldas. For him to come to this sergeant's aid would be, in essence, making a statement that gun laws are, they're workaroundable. They're not that important. He broke a gun law. He should have to do his time kind of mindset.
Well,
some warped way to try to make it a stronger
It's the Shanine Allen mindset of, yes, no one got hurt, and yes, you didn't intend to do this, and yes, you weren't trying to commit a crime, but technically you did, so, hey, you got to pay.
Right, so there's no difference between this guy and somebody going across the border the other direction carrying C4.
Well, I think, a lot of difference.
Well, you know what I'm saying? That's how absurd it is. There is a huge difference, but they're going to treat them all the same?
To your point, though, I think you may be right that Obama, of course, and he has promised the gun banners that he would help them out at every turn now. He said, after the election, I'll be able to help you out here. Mm-hmm. And so this is something he can actually help them by doing nothing. He doesn't actually have to take any action.
Right. He's shoring up their belief that guns are evil.
Not very patriotic.
The only news outlet that's really doing anything about this is Fox. They are kind of keeping the story alive. Everybody else is just ignoring it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of online activity, actually. There's a lot of people. And they did have a petition, the White House website thing. You can go through the .gov website, and they got well over the 70,000 people you need to do it. I believe that's the number. So, it is something that if nothing else, it's a thorn in their side, but it's a human being's life we're talking about. It's not an inconvenience. And It pisses me off.
Well, there you go. Michael, you got a new holster you wanted to you've been trying out. How'd this thing work for you?
Well, I went and I was taking a fighting handgun class yesterday, and I carry a number of different holsters.
Is that where you fight handguns? What's the deal?
Yeah, they're tough.
They shoot back.
Yeah, right.
Bruise your knuckles. Well, anyway, I was carrying a Phobos yesterday, and I like my Phobos, although they're kind of an inexpensive holster. It's got good retention and everything, but I'm carrying that, and we actually had a guy that builds these holsters, a national kind of company that was there training with us, and he's like, just try this on. I said, I don't want to try another holster on, man. Seriously. So I tried it on. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty cool. 4 hours into it, I said, you're not getting this thing back. He said, well, I'm going to need some money for it then. I said, well, no, you can just forget about the money part, But
how'd that work out for you?
Didn't. He had a gun, too, so I wasn't going to argue the point. And, well, I went to the ATM and picked it up, man.
It's amazing how polite everybody gets when everybody is wearing a gun.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But this is just the coolest holster. It's an outside the waistband. It's Kydex. The clips, the belt clips, fold inward at a strange angle. At first I looked at it, I was like, this is kind of weird, but it makes it really, really easy to put on, get the belt through, and it doesn't slide forward or backward on your belt, even if you got a real slippery leather belt like I'm wearing. It's awesome.
How's the cant?
Cant is perfect. It's really not canted much. You can change the angle if you wanted to.
Nice. He can't talk about it.
Bum, bum.
So who's the maker?
Sawyer Concealment.
Sawyer Concealment.
Yeah, I met the owner. We're a real nice young guy. Does it full time.
There are so many people doing cool things with holsters now. And some of them, start from a garage and then, Cross Street Holster started from a garage. And they grew out. Now it's a major company.
Alien Gear.
Yeah.
Alien Gear. Yeah, exactly right. You got this little guy over in, I don't know where he is, Alabama or someplace. A holster is, little outfits. And you know why they're doing it? And we've talked about this before. It's because every one of our holster solutions is only a partial solution.
Right.
We're all trying to find that one where this is absolutely comfortable and it doesn't feel like I'm carrying 2 pounds on my belt. Well, you are. You're carrying 2 pounds on your belt. And that's just what. And you're carrying full-size gun, are you not?
I'm carrying a 19, Glock 19.
Okay.
So it's a mid-size.
It's a mid-size.
But I've got 3 mags on, so that kind of balances out my scoliosis on the spine thing going on.
Don't you mean Glock 19, heavy on the rust?
Yeah. I noticed that yesterday.
What's the deal about your Glock rusty?
Tennifer's not supposed to rust.
Yeah, right.
Well, I got a little patch on the body side because I've been wearing the same inside the waistband holster for quite some time, and it's not like I don't clean the thing or anything.
We meant to talk to you about that, Michael.
Yeah, I don't even take it off when I shower. Anyway, that was stupid. I got a little patch of surface rust, just little tiny spots on the one side of the gun. And I put some frog lube on my finger, and I could see some of it wiping off, but there's still some discoloration. So I want to fight that before it gets bad.
One way to fight that is you put a shower cap over your gun.
That's right. Or
the visual's making me sick. Really, I'm getting ill here.
Actually, we were out at the Iron Man 3 gun. There was a woman competitor out there. She had a shower cap over her pistol because there was so much dust around there. She kept it on there when she just walked around and then took it off before each stage when she was shooting. It was hilarious.
That's great.
That's cool. It's a good idea. Although it does prevent people from seeing the breach in her finger out of the trigger guard, etc.
It was a clear shower cap.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it wouldn't be much of a suppressor, would it?
I think you may be onto something.
What have you been doing?
Oh, a little bit of everything. My husband and I had, not this weekend prior, we had done some up-close shotgun training. That was quite fun, using a little 20-gauge pump gun. If no one has done that, I think for sure they ought to give it a whirl because it's fascinating the way that they shoot. Close range being probably 15 yards.
Okay.
And nobody's going to really walk through that.
No.
People think shotguns and patterns and you look at the holes, but I tell you, at 15 yards, it's quite impressive, and you're not leaving a spot blank anywhere.
And 15 yards is actually a long distance when you think of that as being 45 feet.
Right.
And the average size room in your house, you don't have a room probably that's 45 feet across.
Right. That was the farthest. I shot much closer than
Did
that
you?
as well, but just fascinating.
You're blowing a big old hole, aren't you?
Yes, you are.
See, I bought mistakenly a whole bunch of 20-gauge ammo. Now I need to find a 20-gauge shotgun.
Well, I know where you can get one. You got $1,500?
Oh, my God.
I think it's interesting you mentioned the 20 gauge. We just did a video piece with Rob Pincus. We're going to do shotgun. He says, well, do you have a 20 gauge? He says, I said, well, why? He says, because I'm really trying to get people to understand that the 20 gauge is a great defensive shotgun. And then Mossberg recently came out with their 20-gauge defensive gun. And I'm just thinking that a 20-gauge really is a great home defense gun.
I picked the 20 just because I don't like the recoil off of a 12.
Exactly. Who's going to go train all day? I mean, you can do it, but it just beats the devil out of it.
Right. And with the different loads, and of course we reload our own shotgun shells, but, you can get all kinds of loads that are very easy for training, and, you put a couple of buckshots in there and put it into the mix with your regular shot, and you've got quite a defensive mechanism.
Now, what kind of shotgun are you shooting?
It was an Ithaca 37.
Ooh.
No kidding. Bottom eject.
Yep.
Oh, old school.
Old school.
Decided not to go single shot for defense shooting, huh?
Yeah, no.
Good call.
But
Hold on while I reload that, please.
You got a minute?
Just slow down.
For many years, there were police departments all over the country that used
My
Ithaca
grandfather
37s.
was chief in one of the cities here in town for a very long time, and he passed down the Ithaca shotgun to my father, in which I have not yet been able to shoot.
Well, that is our family favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's neat.
It
They're
is.
very pretty, too.
Yeah.
And completely ambidextrous, bottom ejection, and but if you go into wing shooting, they also made a really lightweight gun. The 20 gauges especially were lightweight.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
I was going to ask what the advantages are of a bottom eject. I mean, for vision, or is it there are other operating?
Right, left-handed is the big deal, because
Okay.
it doesn't matter being bottom eject where your shells are going to be flying, and that's the big reason most people pick a bottom eject gun.
It's also good for training purposes. If you're in a lineup with people, you're not getting pelted with plastic,
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And also just for feeding it, you can load them. You're not loading when you're trying to load one in the side on a receiver. This way, if you're shooting, and the thing is, we talk about ambidextrous, but when you're doing training for self-defense, you do shoot both right and left-handed. At least your class should have you doing that.
Okay.
And so if you're shooting from one side and you're trying to feed rounds into the side load of your shotgun,
Okay.
this way you can feed it from the bottom, and it works either way.
So the bottom feed, bottom eject.
Bottom feed. Actually, I prefer the muzzleloader style myself.
With the patch.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
right.
hang on a second, you guys.
That's right. You guys hang on. I'll have this thing loaded in just a minute here.
Or you load, I'll help you with the TV.
There you go. There you go. Well, Michelle, did you have a local trainer working with you on this?
My husband and I were working together with it. Yeah, he
Oh,
does.
you couldn't get anybody top notch? You could go with him?
Oh,
I charge
Wow.
$1,500 an
World
hour.
class.
yeah.
He's world class.
Yeah, that's
there you
okay.
go.
He'll see you later. That's all right.
That's right. He will see you later. Yeah.
See me in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
No, that's no threat there. It's on a friendly mode.
I told you we're having an employee appreciation dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells really good.
Yes, it does.
Man.
I don't fly on it. Just teleport up.
Teleport up. That's
Yeah,
right.
what we'll
got
do
the
is we'll
technology.
Skype each other and then eat in front of you.
You got smell-o-vision?
It always goes weird, doesn't it? What is it about this after show? At the end, it always just turns weird.
Well, you kept us kept up for 3 hours.
Right, yeah.
We're biting our tongues. and
That's right.
hitting
I
each
actually
other.
make you pay attention for this hour. The other hours you don't care about.
Not when there's a football game or hockey game on the monitors.
That's right.
here.
That's right. We got
You guys watching the news monitors like you're supposed to? Well, if they have the center ice, yeah.
Jim's just bummed because he has to keep it muted while the shows are going on.
Oh, yeah, I know.
No, they have duct tape and an athletic sock they use.
You're getting 60 texts an hour
The
from
analog
him.
method.
I have no idea where we are now, guys.
okay.
Just,
We probably should wrap on that if that was a
that's
cue.
just
if ever.
And once again, we've gone completely off the rails. Here we are.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, are we doing this from the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Chicago next week? So we'll do that.
Right, there's an
have a
outside
great-
chance we may come stalk you there and find you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That'd
I'm
be
trying to make it
outstanding.
happen logistically. We'll see.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
if I can take some
It'd be good
time
to
off
see
at
you
work,
guys.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and we
Just give me
figured we'll have.
some morning so I can get the heck out of Dodge before you get there.
Well, the money you would have spent on Hooper, you're going to buy a shotgun. It sounds like.
Well,
that's true.
yeah, maybe. I mean, you never know, right?
That's right.
Besides, if you move to Alaska, there's a lady who will buy you a rifle. So there you go.
Took 223 to shoot moose.
Stop moving, Moose.
That's right. The moose is going, what is that?
Oh, hey, real quick before we go, Tom, because I have to know.
Yes.
What about a 308 AR?
Absolutely. That would work fabulously.
Oh, some saving grace. You got
That's
out
right.
of
So
it.
you got out of it. All right. Man.
Let's eat.
All right. You guys have a good time. We'll do it next week.
See you
Bye,
later.
Tom.
Hey, how'd you like the Gun Talk After Show? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, we stick around after the regular radio broadcast and just have a little fun. You can get it on your computer, or better yet, have you heard about the new Gun Talk app for your Android or iPhone? That makes it real easy. Download it today in the App Store. You can use your iPod too. Join us again right here next week for the Gun Talk After Show with Tom, Jim, Michelle, and Michael. It's always worth it, and it's never boring, I can tell you that. We'll see you next week. We're hanging out at guntalk.com. Meet us there.